Subscribe our channel. Stay till the end of the stories for more twist and turn. Comment us about what kind of stories you like to hear.
My 40 male, wife 26 female, has been detached for several months, spending hours each day on her phone and neglecting our 3 children. Hello, our relationship advice. I have been happily married to my wife, R, for 6 years, and we have 3 young children. Up until March and the start of quarantine, we had a great relationship with strong communication, evenly shared domestic work and regular intimacy. I have a job that normally required travel 25% of the time, but pays exceptionally well. Of course, currently, I am working from home. R worked in tech, but retired after having our 3rd child with a generous severance package. Our problems started in mid-March, when I stopped traveler going into the office regularly, instead of working from our home office, which is also R's reading room. For the first week or so of work from home, we shared the space evenly. I will admit that I was slightly taken aback that R wanted to use the room with me, given that she would often show up on camera in my important meetings, and slightly distract me for most of the day. That weekend I tried to bring it up politely to R. We have a relatively large house, with enough rooms that she could sit quietly without the kids, if she wanted, and without affecting my work. She responded passive-aggressively, which she has never done before in our marriage. I felt bad, so I told her we can compromise and set up some sort of divider in the room. She agreed, but wanted about 60% of the space. I have no idea why she wanted more, but I agreed. That was the start of the strange behavior. Since then I have noticed she spends an increasingly high amount of time on the phone every day. I usually work from 8 to 6 each day and don't leave the home office very much. R will sit on the couch in the room. I can sort of hear her through the divider. She will lay on the couch and use her phone from 10 to 12 and 2 to 4 or so almost every day, stopping to check on the nanny and kids, and later on to work out before dinner. This is quite an unusual behavior for her, and at first, I had no idea what she was doing. She is low-key defensive of her phone and will put it down when I walk past. She also stopped initiating sex entirely since April, and became irate when I asked if there was something wrong. The situation escalated somewhat last week, when I left the office around 11 to get a snack. As I came around the divider I noticed R was taking a selfie on Snapchat in such a way that she couldn't quite see me. I hung around the spot I was standing relative to the divider to see what she was doing. After she took the picture, she proceeded to send it to about 15 people, most of them males that I don't know. I went back behind the divider and I do not think she noticed due to some noise from my computer and the kids downstairs. While I suspect she might be flirting with these men, what hurts more is knowing that she is doing so as a stay-at-home mom who doesn't do very much to take care of the children. The kids are all virtual learning right now, which is a tough adjustment. I do not think the nanny is doing a very good job supervising them. I have noticed a tangible decline in their attention spans, and the amount of time they spend doing academic work. I have been the only one to cook, clean or help the kids with academic work for several weeks. I want to ask R to sit down and talk about these difficult issues. The Snapchatting many men, neglecting the children, division of domestic work, and just overall spending 4+ hours per day on the phone. However, I feel as though she might not respect me enough to do so openly. If anyone has any experience dealing with a similar situation or just general advice for how I can approach her, I would greatly appreciate it. TLDR. Wife has become withdrawn, spends 5+ hours on the phone each day, frequently snaps at me, neglecting kids. Where you married this girl at 20 while you were in your 30s. She's having serious FOMO and resenting everything and guessing. While her friends are out having fun and being in their 20s, she's stuck at home with 3 kids and an old husband. Could see this coming a mile away with age gap relationships. Also sounds like she doesn't have her own career or major hobbies, which also doesn't help. And has a nanny to care for the children. Honestly, she's probably cheating, but could also just be bored. She may be flirting with other men to feel seen. Talk to her. Why on earth is she retired at 26? She's probably bored as hell and regretting some of her life decisions. You don't think she should spend 4 hours a day on her phone, but what the hell else is she going to do? Walk around and look the nanny over the shoulder all day. You say you've been happily married for 6 years. Are you sure she's been happy? As always, communicate. Talk to your wife. From how you describe things it sounds like you observe her a lot, but don't communicate openly with each other. She chooses to be in the same room as you all day. Maybe she's feeling isolated and lonely because of the pandemic. She wouldn't have any connection to outside people at work if she doesn't have a job now, and social contact wasn't allowed, so that could be really isolating. Maybe she wanted to be in your company, so she chose the same room you work in, which you found to be an intrusion, and set up a divider so it would feel more like a different room. Understandable from your point of view, but for her, it could have felt like she's lonely, and you don't appreciate her need for contact. Maybe she's using Snapchat to get some validation from people because she's not getting it from you. Obviously, I'm guessing and assuming a ton here. If you want to actually figure out what's happening, you have to communicate with her, and maybe a couples counselor could help with that. Not to make you the bad guy here, but this girl got married at 22, a way older man that clearly wants different things in life than she does. Myself, I'm 20 and I can't imagine marrying and having children anywhere near this age. And while yes, people are different, and maybe she could have been more mature, doubt it though, my point still stands. You 40, an adult man that's experienced a lot of things, while she was just 20 when she married. I'm not saying you're the problem, not at all, but I think you should have put more thought into this before jumping into marriage with a 20-year-old. Maybe she feels trapped because she didn't experience her youth as she wanted to, and that's honestly understandable, to me at least. I know this isn't much of an advice, just saying how she might feel. Not to mention that unless they got married literally right away, she was a teenager who started dating a man in his 30s, and immediately popped out 3 kids, then retired at 25. Maybe it was all innocent on Op's part, but it definitely seems off to me, and I don't doubt that she might be questioning things. So you married her at 20 years old when you were already in your mid-30s, and she is a mom of 3. With kids in school and everything. How old are your kids? How long did you date her before you were married? She is retired at 26. There are a ton of these stories on here with relationships, with huge age gaps, and the older a guy has super high expectations of these really young girls who essentially went from high school to motherhood and were groomed by these older men. He doesn't really have super high expectations though. He just wants her to be more involved in parenting, instead of sitting on her phone and to communicate with him. So you married a 20-year-old when you were 34, and you had 3 kids with her. She doesn't work at all yet you still have a nanny. Oh, and you're not around a lot of the time. TBH, it doesn't sound like this behavior is news. Sounds to me like she's always been immature and used to having other people do the work for her, and you're only realizing it now. I'm assuming you two dated for a bit before getting married, which means you were in your 30s while she was still a teenager. I really don't know what you expected. According to him, they dated for 4 months before getting married, and she already had 1 child. I'm wondering if this isn't just another inflammatory age gap fiction post that's all the rage in this sub right now. This is not good of her at all, but just some insight into why she might be changing honestly. If it started during quarantine, it could just be a hard change for her. She's not used to you being around so much, and not going out could be giving her depression, which can cause irritability, and a need to feel wanted, causing the possible flirting with other guys. I think even though she gets irritable and upset, you should sit her down and tell her this is a serious talk, where you guys both need to try to be open and calm, and then discuss all this with her. I must be going crazy because I don't see anything wrong with her behavior. I'll fess up and say I have a phone addiction too. I spend hours on the phone doing absolutely nothing productive. Hi Reddit. Don't even get me started on the hours I spent on my phone when lockdown started. I was obsessed with scrolling, long into the night and early morning. I'm not proud of it, but it's the internet era, right? I'm going to guess this behavior isn't new at all, you're just seeing it for the first time because you're at home now. Most parents I know are more interested in plugging their kids onto tablets so they can sit on their phones for hours. If she's retired, why isn't she a stay-at-home mom? Why do you need a nanny if she's at home anyway? Again, she's never had to homeschool or look after the kids for an extended time because you have help, so maybe she's just lazy, and you're only just seeing it because you're home more often and having to do more at-home things, cooking, cleaning, homeschool, due to COVID. Could be as simple as you don't see your wife's daily routine, and it's been an eye-opener for you. I don't need to comment on the obvious age difference, etc. You already know that your maturity levels are not the same. I am not judging you or her. I don't think that helps anyone, and I am sorry about all the harsh comments you have had when you are clearly worried for your family. You don't write anything about why she retired. Did she want that herself? With a nanny and all, I just am confused as to why she would do that. Being a full-time mom is not for everyone, and it does not sound as if it is for her. Neither does it need to be with the nanny. Side point. If you're not happy with the nanny, you should have an conversation with her about what you're happy with and not, and discuss a plan on how to improve the things you're not fully happy with. Doing nothing is harmful to anyone. We all become a lazy couch slugs in no time. With the isolation as well, she might be feeling extra down. She is sort of trapped in your office, and had to share that as well. That's probably where the irritability started, and why she has been unreasonable about it. She is at this point in time doing absolutely nothing productive. Going from a well-paid tech job that could make her feel bad. I know my sister, who has been sick for 4 years, clings extremely hard to anything that gives her some sort of accomplishment. That she too can do something or know something, preferably better than anyone else. Your wife could miss that feeling of being competent at something, that is not just being a mom and wife. It is impossible to me to know why the rest is like it is. She isn't necessarily flirting with other guys though. To flirt with 15 men at the same time, while married at that, sounds very strange. To me it sounds as if she is trying her best to mentally distract and distance herself, to not deal with reality, and the snapping could be part of that. How to solve this? I'm afraid you need to talk with her. She doesn't sound as if she's at a place where she'll welcome that, but it needs to happen. The couple's therapist, where maybe the therapist could suggest some sessions with only her a few times before continuing with both. I think you're talking to someone about this other than you could help her talk about it with you. Best of luck.
Thanks for listening so far. If story have update we will post here. Like and subscribe to our channel for upcoming stories.